Hello everyone, my name is Namagoma from Iganga Secondary School. Together with me are my teammates that are debating in today's resolution, the second round of high school crossfires. Starting this side is Anyalisa Patience, the first speaker, Nachiruka Victorious, our fourth speaker, and then Bukunda Masimugisha, our third speaker, myself being the fourth speaker.
My name is Samuel Okrapa from St.Mark'S College, Namagoma, and we are here today at Chambogo College to debate on the resolution that states the recent increase in internet censorship and social media restriction undermines democracy in Uganda. And on my immediate right is Ninsima Melisha, my second speaker. Then in the middle we have Lutaya Tremendous, and on my far right is Atrine Maxwell, and we're here to enjoy the moment.
Yes.
House rules. Each speaker has 5 minutes. The first and last minutes are protected. The judge will ring a bell to signal the protected time. The bell will ring continuously after 5 minutes.
Mark's College, Namagoma, from the former tourist side. The resolution says that this House believes that the recent increase in internet censorship and social media restriction in Uganda undermines democracy. I'm going to start by first introducing the key terms. First, we as affirmative, we believe that the we define recent as the period between 2015 to date. Then, to increase is to add more on something or to something. Then internet censorship. This is the legal control of suspension of what can be accessed, published or viewed on the internet. We're defining recent as the period between 2015 to date. Why are we doing this? Because we want to create a pattern that shows you how the recent increase in internet censorship and social media restriction since 2015 to date has undermined democracy. What is this pattern we're talking about? Well, first the pattern is in 2016 when accounts like Twitter, Facebook and Instagram were all closed during the general elections. Then in 2021, where in January, we had again the same blocking of Twitter accounts, Instagram and Facebook. Then to date, you're seeing Facebook is still closed. So what is undermining democracy? This is to lessen the effectiveness of maximization of accountability, representation and participation. Democracy is the maximization of accountability and participation and representation according to Harm's principle. So, accountability is the right of the citizens to ask for end products that justify why we put these leaders in powers. Participation is where citizens have a say or an opinion regarding issues of national concern. Then representation is where issues and problems affecting citizens are aired out to leaders so as to be addressed. We as team affirmatives believe that our standpoint is that yes, censorship has been there and it is legal. But the recent increase in internet censorship and social media restriction is the one that's undermining democracy. We come to you as the opposition body of parliament, and we're going to show you how the recent increase in social media and internet censorship is undermining democracy. First, it is increasingly limiting freedom of expression. What is this freedom of expression we're talking about? This is the right and freedom of one to express themselves online and access information and public opinions. If social media is restricted and people cannot do this, we're affecting the maximization of participation. An example of this is the ban on Facebook. Facebook is a social media platform that provides an avenue for public debate and providing opinions on issues of national concern. So if you're banning Facebook, you're not providing an avenue for people to provide public debate and opinions on issues of national concern. In that way, you're limiting participation. Then, we believe that internet censorship and social media restriction is increasingly reducing access to information. How are they increasingly reducing access to information? First, it is limiting citizens from receiving diverse sources of information. This is hindering effectiveness of participation of citizens in areas of public debate. For example, we're going to have His Excellency Bobby Wine, Robert Sentamu Kyagulanyi, who had his YouTube account during the 2021 general elections that was closed. The account that he was using to guard and track votes, this account was shut down, and this was hindering the effective participation and representation. Since people who are under the NUP umbrella, people who are ready to give their vote to Bobby Wine, were not able to air out their views and concerns and see how far their leader is doing in the election process. Then there's also an example where the recent increase in internet censorship was when OTT tax was recently replaced with a 12% tax level on internet data and an additional 8% value-added tax. This tax was hindering access of internet to the people who are stricken by poverty. So people in Uganda who are stricken by poverty could not cannot keep on paying this tax, and therefore they won't be able to keep on accessing internet. Therefore, that's hindering their access to information, hence reducing maximization of participation, and it's also affecting them from asking for accurate accountability. With that, I would like to rest my case.
The recent increase in internet censorship and social media restrictions in Uganda undermines democracy. So the question of the debate today is, does internet censorship and social media restrictions undermine or promote democracy? Now, we argue with the definition of the key terms of the affirmers except for democracy. As democracy is a dynamic social and political system based on the rule of law that aims to achieve international peace and security, economic and social development, for human rights according to the UN. Now, our parameters are Uganda, as said in the resolution, and as a status quo, the government of Uganda has increasingly resorted to internet censorship as a means of controlling dissemination of information that poses a threat to national security. Now, our team burden as negative is to prove that internet censorship and social media restrictions does not undermine democracy, but rather promotes it. So we strongly believe that the recent increase in internet censorship is aimed at creating public order and preventing flow of wrong information and hate speech. Now, what is hate speech? Hate speech refers to information that is offensive and targets a group of or an individual based on religion, race, gender, or another thing. Now, there are better ways of expressing yourself. Team Affirmative talks about, hold on. So there are better ways of expressing yourself other than using vulgar language, abusing people. Now, they talked about limiting freedom of expression. Now, let us look at the limitations of freedom of expression according to the UN. Freedom of expression must not encroach people's rights to enjoyment of human rights. If your right to freedom of expression hampers someone else's peace or incites violence, discrimination, then it definitely undermines democracy. Now, imagine thieves and murderers were allowed to express themselves. What would happen? People would die, people would be hurt. And besides, freedom of expression is not an absolute right. In other words, it can be compromised for the fulfillment of other rights for the benefit of the general public. That's according to the Article 44 of the Constitution. They also talked about reducing access to information. Now, you realize that the largest percentage of the internet users are youth, people who can easily be manipulated and influenced by any kind of information, even if it's wrong. So if government hadn't censored the internet in 2021, any manipulator with any kind of wrong information could manipulate their decisions since they were worthy of voting. And besides, internet is filled with critics who mainly focus on making stinging comments and comments that oppose the government, which may necessarily not be true. So this censorship was really, really necessary. And if the recent, as I conclude, would you rather have Team Affirmative? We believe that government has a right to put the right system, and Team Affirmative supports strong democracy other than the right one, and democracy that promotes the well-being of the general public is achieved on our side. And also, if the recent censorship really undermined democracy, then only a particular group could be affected. Maybe only the opposition could be blocked from accessing some apps, which wasn't the case. Everyone, including the president and other programs, were also affected. And that itself is democracy. And maybe they talked about it affecting the economy. Now, would you rather have your business destroyed or ruined or ravaged by political instability, which has been incited by riots due to some wrong information flowing, or have it put to a halt for a few days to prevent further harm? We clearly see that this internet censorship and social media restriction was really, really necessary. As I conclude,
this is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.